In Secret of the Golden Flower it is written, "Today I will be your guide. I will first reveal to you the secret of the golden flower of the Great One, and, starting from that, I will explain the rest in detail. The Great One is the term given to that which has nothing above it." So, who is the I here? Who is the I that is speaking? In one sense, it's the essence of Lu Dongbin, the ancient Taoist teacher, in a spiritual form, literally telling us that he is going to act as our guide in real time through this process. Now, this puts Secret of the Golden Flower in a unique category of documents, like the Gathas of Zarathustra, in the sense that it's presented as a direct communication from the teacher. In other words, when you're reading this book, when you're studying this book, not just breezing through it quickly, but taking a certain time, a certain quality of attention, a certain devotion, and a certain openness of being, probably combined with certain practices, that it's an actual unveiling of a teaching is actually being communicated to you in real time as you read the book. And it's not just to your mind, but it's communicating to higher aspects of yourself, because in one sense the I that says, "Today I will be your guide," in one sense it's Lu Dongbin, but in another sense it's your own higher self, what Gurdjieff calls your permanent I, or what Zarathustra calls your Fravashi, or what Aleister Crowley calls your holy guardian angel. So this isn't a document of something that's already happened. It's not a story about something that happened. And it's not totally just a how-to manual. In one sense it is, because it is telling you what you need to do. But in another sense, it's not a manual that you read and then practice from. It's a direct communication. It's an avenue for a direct receiving of this teaching. There's a process of direct instruction that takes place in studying the book, again in harmony with doing the work that is suggested later on in the text. So, there are many Eastern systems that place a strong emphasis on the need of a guru. And I mean, it's all over the place. We use different terminology in the West, but all these systems of self development, spirituality, even religious type systems, all these places emphasis on you have to have you have to have a guru, you have to have a teacher. According to these guru oriented systems, no progress towards enlightenment is really possible without that direct guidance of an individual to which the student must, without question, subordinate themselves to. There's a yoga system called Bhakti Yoga, yoga of devotion, which starts with total, unquestioning devotion to a guru or teacher. Now, we also are very aware that quite a lot of these gurus historically have eventually been revealed to have been sexually or financially exploiting the people that are in their groups. And so it's understandable that we would approach an idea like this with caution and maybe even a little bit of hesitation. So this is another unique thing about Secret of the Golden Flower, is it eliminates all of these risks by establishing a direct link with the spiritual essence of the teacher, with the figure of Ludong Ben, or with the idea of your own higher self within you, because ultimately that's where you will receive what is needed to transform you, is through the avenue of your own higher self, by establishing a channel of communication with them. So one of my teachers, J.J. Semple, once said, about the most a guru can do for you is tell you to stop drinking whiskey. And that really sums it up. I mean, you already know that you need to stop drinking whiskey, especially if you come to the point where you're starting to look into a path or the possibility of self-development, or the possibility of not living a mechanical lifestyle, of living a life as an automaton. And that really sums it up. The Secret of the Golden Flower is really intended to be implemented without a guru or a teacher. The activity of a consistent daily meditation practice combined with the study of the book is what is needed. That is the essential thing. And as you move in order to establish it, because it's not easy, I'm not saying that that's easy, a daily meditation practice, it can be a struggle to get something like that going, but it will, just the effort towards that will start changing other things in your life. Things will start falling into place that will help facilitate that. And at the same time, the things that emerge that create struggle with you will challenge you to exercise new parts of yourself that you have not paid attention to. When you find eventually the opportunity to exchange with others who are engaged in this kind of practice, that will enhance and refine your efforts, but you have to make all those initial steps completely by yourself. The other thing about this teaching of Secret of the Golden Flower is that there's not a need for people to form groups around the teaching. However, this does happen occasionally, and meditating in groups can be very beneficial so long as participation is totally voluntary and everyone involved in it is sincere, especially whoever is leading the meditations. So you don't ever want to let a charlatan trick you into thinking that you need them, because there's not any one other person other than yourself that is really needed or necessary for the process. The only I that is really necessary is the one that is buried inside of you. Be very wary of advice or opinions about Secret of the Golden Flower that come from people who have themselves not practiced the method. People may have read many books, but they haven't read the most important book, the one that is inside. And we're very aware that the people who, delivered Secret of the Golden Flower to the West, Wilhelm Young, Cleary, and others, themselves may have not practiced the method. Young advised against practicing the method. He was afraid that it would be dangerous to the Western mind. And I'd suggest, no, it's not. It's only dangerous in the sense that it may shatter many of these preconceived notions, many of these old patterns that are established with us in the West. For instance, the idea that you have to have a teacher or that you have to have a group. So the other question is about the Great One, when he says, the Great One is the term given to that which has nothing above it. And that the secret of the golden flower is of the Great One. And starting from that, he's going to explain the rest in detail. So the Great One here almost certainly refers to the idea of the Tao, or the idea of the Absolute, the idea of a first cause that Aristotle and Plato talked about. It corresponds somewhat to the idea of God, but I'm always weary with that because in the West we have so much baggage around that term. Gurdjieff had a very interesting term here, the trago-auto-egocrat, to signify the absolute, or that which is not fed on by anything else or is subservient to anything else, or is subject to the will of anything else other than its own self, its very self. So what goes along with this is the idea that all organic beings in the universe feed on something and act as food for something else. Every organic being, without exception. It's one of the conditions of living here. It's one of the laws that govern existence on planet Earth. This is also an idea. This is also an idea that we find in the Bhagavad Gita, where Prince Arjuna is reluctant to go to war because he doesn't want to kill other beings. He realizes the soldiers on the opposing side are actually his own, brothers and cousins, and why would he want to bring suffering to him? And this initiates Krishna's revealing of his teaching to him, and part of that is the idea that you don't do any favors for other people, for other organic beings, by refusing to follow your own dharma or your own duty, or what Gurdjieff calls your being park dog duty. And that is part of the law of existence here, is that every organic creature to exist must kill something else in order to substantiate its existence. So, as an example, if you decide you don't want to kill any cows or chickens and you become a vegan, well, you haven't really stopped the cycle of life and death. You haven't stopped the wheel of samsara, because you're still killing the organic beings that are plants. And plants also want to live and reproduce. And even if you could stop doing that, if you decided I'm not going to kill even plants, so I'm just not going to eat anything, I'm just going to drink water and breathe air, for as long as you survive like that, well, just the cells that create your body, which every cell that goes into creating you is also an individual organic unit on a certain level, on a certain scale. And you're killing millions of them are dying in the process of existing on your body and keeping it together. Every time you scratch, or you're killing thousands and millions of little cellular beings. So that's the law that affects all of us organic beings. And so the idea of the Great One is that the Great One does not have to kill anything in order to exist. It doesn't have to be fed upon by anything else. So it's not subject to that law completely. And so it's the idea of the absolute. So we don't have to define it that much. We just have to understand that it's something that we are within, that we cannot exist or do things outside of that, and that it is very far away from us, and that the direction of it is, in one sense, upward from where we are. Reflection on the Absolute is an effort to bring one's line of questioning out of the endless cycle of cause and effect into that which is not affected, and to be able to move without reaction. Because it's in the cycle of action and reaction in which we may start to realize that, oh, we need to stop drinking whiskey. So with that in mind, go against the grain, keep fighting the good fight, and stand in the fire that burns eternal.